right, welcome to Tech Thursday. Today's Tech Thursday class, we're going to go over creating buyer and seller presentations in designs. So I really enjoy teaching this class a lot. I love doing anything in designs. There's just so many great layouts that are already available, very like real estate specific templates. So I love utilizing those for my business. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Sierra, I'm gonna make you the host. Does that sound good? Okay.
Yes, sounds good.
Then I can just focus. I was just saying, this might be a fast class today, or it might take up the whole hour. We're gonna kind of see how it goes, but this will be fun. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So I am at my command login right now, which is agent.kw.com. I think about that as the agent access to kw.com. So if you just type in kw.com, you're going to go to a consumer facing platform. And what we want is we want the agent platform. So that's where we're going to agent.kw.com. I've got my login credentials already saved, and we are going to log right in. And then the first thing we're gonna do, Sierra, can you guess what we're gonna do first?
I'm gonna guess we're gonna go to our marketing profile.
Yes.
That's where we love to start.
You know, Sierra and I did not discuss this beforehand. She just knows that that's basically where we're gonna start for any Tech Thursday class that starts in command. So we're going to go, I'm gonna click my name up here at the top right-hand corner, and I'm gonna click settings. And then once I'm in settings, I'm going to go to connect settings and then marketing profile. So this is great for me because my marketing profile is already up to date. So I don't really need to make any changes. I did actually update my headshot recently, so I just uploaded that in here. If you don't have a headshot or you're uploading a new headshot, keep in mind it does need to be a square. It doesn't need to be 360 by 360 pixels. It can be any size square, but it does need to be a square, or else on some platforms your headshot might look a little weird. They'll like get stretched out or doubled up or something like that. So it is good to have it as a square, even though for the team logo, it does say this one needs to be a square. That one actually doesn't. It seems to work pretty well, regardless of what size it is. And then same thing for your Market Center logo as well. Even though it recommends a square, I find that using just the regular Market Center logo works great. So then I've got my details here. One thing we always talk about on this is where you put your team. We are going to talk a little bit about your agent site today, but your team name right here is actually what your drop-down menu looks like on your agent site. So keep that in mind. And like I said, we've got our Market Center logo here. This compliance legal footer. There's actually nothing that's on here that's really actually required to my knowledge. I just like to double down and make sure I'm extra compliant, but there should actually already be on the bottom of your marketing materials, like your website and things like that, the bare minimum of the legal footer. So you're kind of taken care of there. I also have my equal housing opportunity and realtor logos down here. And this one's the fun one. And this one actually you might be using today for your buyer guide. We want to have all of our social medias linked on here. So keep in mind that this is your business platform. So if you have stuff that you don't really want your clients accessing on your Instagram or Facebook, maybe don't link them here. You can always utilize your office's Instagram or Facebook accounts instead. But it's also a great idea to create a more client-friendly version of those platforms too, if you so that you can start sharing those as well. All right, and now that we've got all of that up to date, we're looking good. We're going to go down to designs. Now, if you're having trouble remembering which one of these is designs, yes, it is this little square with a paintbrush. But you can also click this red KW here at the top. It'll expand that menu. And then designs is right here. So we're going to click that. So something fun. Every so often we teach a Tech Thursday class and we log into command and realize something's new. And that happened to me this morning when I was prepping for this class. They don't have this blue plus sign that used to be on the bottom right-hand corner. Now there's actually a blue teal, I guess, create design button here at the top. I actually think I prefer that. I think before, the location of the plus sign and the nondescript nature of it made people sometimes get into designs and be a little unsure about where to go or what to do next, whereas this one's pretty obvious. You can import a design, which is great. If you have a PDF that you want to tweak a bit and edit, this would be a great place for you to upload that and then edit it. It's basically similar to what you would get from a paid Adobe software program, but of course this is included in your command. And then we're going to do create design. So both of the designs we're going to talk about today are located under print. So I'm going to click print. As you can see, we've got 4 different categories here: email, social, print, and video. If you can't find what you're looking for under one of these categories, especially social and print can kind of be a bit interchangeable. So if you're under print and you're looking for something specific and you're not finding it, maybe try social and vice versa. All right, we are loading. Now that we are here in our templates, we are going to first go to assets. So assets is really similar to what we just did in our marketing profile, but this one is very specific to designs. So, and you can actually add a few more things as well. So a lot of this stuff is going to already pull over from your command or from your marketing profile, but you can add things that they don't have in your marketing profile. For example, this color palette. If you are on a team, for example, or you yourself have a logo and you're branding yourself with certain colors, you can add those colors. You can also add a very Keller Williams red if you're going to be utilizing that. And this would be a great place so you can always come back to make sure your marketing is consistent because you're using the same colors on everything. And same thing if you have any fonts that you've downloaded on your computer, you can actually add those to command as well. And then for images, I've got about, I don't know how many are these, 7 different iterations of my headshot. I've got some older headshots, some newer headshots, some without backgrounds, some with backgrounds. It's a great idea to have multiple versions. I think it's good to use them for different marketing materials. And yeah, switching it up every once in a while. Don't be that real estate agent that has the same headshot for 20 years. Show up to a listing appointment or buyer consult and just have people being really confused. Like, wait, is this the same person who I was emailing with? All right, and then for text, this is where you're gonna see a lot of that stuff from your marketing profile pull over, but where you can also add some more text as well. So if you've got those links that we added onto our marketing profile, you should see those here. If not, you can go ahead and add them now by clicking this new field button. Let's see here. And this is scrollable as well. So keep that in mind. If you're not seeing just by clicking on that what you're looking for, you can click scroll. Make sure you've got your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, whatever you're using. And then for logos, this is where you're going to want to have all the different versions of your Market Centers logo. So for example, if I only had this dark red and gray logo, and then I was trying to put it on a flyer that had a very dark picture on it, you're not going to be able to see it really well. So that's why it's really a great idea to have the lighter versions as well. You can't really see it so well right now because of that transparent background grid. But this does say KW North Seattle in white, and same with this one. This one is all white, and you can even tweak it a bit, or white and gray, but you can even tweak it a bit to make it all white as well. And then I have the Ben Kinney Company's logo, but this would be a great place if you wanted to upload, if you're on a team, upload your team's logo. You can also upload the Ben Kinney Company's or Ben Kinney Brokerage's logos if you want to leverage that brand and that name recognition as well. Or if you're creating your own branding, the last Tech Thursday class I taught was all about branding. So if you want to check that video out, you can. I do talk about how you can create your own logo. This could be where you would add that as well. And then elements, these would be things like if you're constantly adding other types of images that aren't necessarily logos, but like maybe the Instagram button looking thing or the Facebook icon. I guess icons is a good word for that. So if there's other icons that you're using in your marketing, this is where you can add those. And then we've got some videos in here and then other files as well. So now that we have covered your assets, we can look at what designs we already have. And then I actually do have a folder right here where I've been organizing some listing presentations. I could make another one that says buyer presentations. And then I have one right here that I was working on earlier. I can just slide that over and move it into that little folder to keep it organized. Now, if we go to templates, the two templates that we're going to talk about today are, as you guys can probably guess, buyer and seller presentations. So we're going to actually spend most of our time in the buyer presentation, just because I think that one's the one that's the most immediately useful, but we will talk about listing presentations as well. To find the listing presentation, you're going to go to listing and then listing presentation. And as you can see, there's a lot of different templates on here, which is great. Again, another thing we talked about in the branding class is it's a really great idea to stick with the consistent marketing, whatever look. I mean, yeah, you can change it for the house if you've got like a craftsman that you're marketing for versus like a new construction townhouse or something, then you might want to switch up your marketing for that reason. But as far as your general business, it's a great idea to stick with something a little consistent. So if you're using a lot of the designs templates for flyers and social media posts that kind of fit this template right here or this template right here or one of these guys, then it would be a great idea to stick with that for your listing and buyer presentations as well. So we're going to go to buyer and then buyer presentations. This is where the buyer presentations are. As you guys can see, there's two different sizes for these presentations. We've got A4 and letter. So A4 is going to be a little longer and skinnier. It's a more common size that you'll see in the UK and in other countries, whereas the letter size, obviously that's like the standard size for the standard paper size in the US and Canada. So I'm going to stick with letter size, but if you do want to do A4 and print something out that is a little more unique, just make sure you have that paper and access to a printer that you can print that from. But the letter one will be very simple. So I'm going to go, so we've got all these different options. I'm going to go with this one right here. I think it looks kind of funky. Well, it says approachable, but I think it looks fun. So we're going to click use. And let's go ahead and actually start putting together a buyer guide. If you guys haven't done this yet, try to follow along with me if you can. I'm going to try to take it slow enough that I won't go too fast, but I also seriously recommend before you share these with clients, or I'm actually going to show you guys too how to add this to your agent website as well. But before you do all of that stuff, I mean, you could do it today, but it's a great idea to make sure you are thoroughly reading over this whole guide. And then it's even better if you can get someone else to read over it too, and just make sure that it all makes sense. And there's going to be, it actually says here, this is the your instruction guide, basically. They don't want you to add this to your buyer guide. This is just for your reference only. But it does say here at the bottom, if you neglect to update and personalize the content included in your buyer guide, it's not going to be accurate and it's not going to make sense. So there's going to be some certain things that you'll either just want to omit because maybe they don't apply to you or you don't have that information or that data, or you're going to want to make sure that you change it so that it reflects you and your business. So first things first, we do want a cover page, obviously. And I'm going to talk more about printing later, but essentially, actually, I just added that twice. Let's take away one of these, delete. If I was going to print these, I would definitely print this on like a glossy, thicker paper, something that looks really nice. I mean, you can certainly print it on computer paper, But if you're going to be trying to really impress your clients, I think having it printed on some nice paper is a great idea. And if you bring some paper to your office, someone there should be able to help you figure out how to get it into the printer and print on that paper too. So, and you can also pay to get things printed at like the FedEx print place or Office Max, Office Depot, things like that. So I can see all of these different pages, but they're pretty small over here. So there's two ways we can add pages to our guide as we're going to create it. So the first one would be, okay, I know I want this second page. I'm going to click this plus sign and it's going to add it as a new page. Now, if I didn't click the plus sign and I just clicked that page, for example, like this, instead of adding it as a new page, it's actually just going to replace the page that I already have. So I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I have the second page. And then I can go through and just continue adding new pages as I see the new pages that I want in my guide. Or if I'm like, this is way too small, I'm having a really hard time navigating this, I can always click new page down here. And then as you can see, we've got this third page that I can go through and add all these different, or click through all these different things and actually see them larger, and they won't be added to my book until I go to the new page and then add something else. So I don't know, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so we've got here, let's see here, our page, and let's take this first name, last name. So there's two approaches that we can do to making this buyer guide. We can make a custom buyer guide for each individual buyer that you work with, or you can make more of a generic buyer guide, which would obviously be much better suited for that scenario that I was talking about, where you can add it to your website. I would say in most cases, a generic buyer guide is fine. You don't really need to have anything that's branded specifically to a buyer. Maybe if you have a very high-end luxury buyer, you might want to make them a specific, like a specific presentation just for them. Or if you know that this buyer that you're working with or potentially trying to work with is interviewing other agents too. If you think they're interviewing other agents, it's a good idea to try to win them over by making them a customized booklet. And you'll see we are going to go through this and pretty much have it done at the end. And you'll see that most of this stuff is taken care of for you, and it's actually a pretty fast process. So I'm going to take this logo out because I'm not on a team and I don't really want that extra logo. And then I'm going to turn this KWDBA logo into the KW North Seattle logo. So this command already knows this is a logo. So as soon as I click this, it just pops up my logos automatically, which is really convenient. And then since this is highlighted, I can actually just click this replace logo button and it'll replace that logo with my logo. And I can make this bigger or smaller. I can move it up or down, wherever I want it to be. And then let's go to the next page. So the next page, I actually don't, oh yeah, I do want to do this page, just updated. So I'm going to take out up here where it says a custom consultation prepared with care for client name. Again, in this scenario, we're going to make it more of a generic buyer guide, but you can, of course, use this to make a custom buyer guide as well. And then compliments of, that's me. I'm going to put my name right here. And then my headshot. So there's a couple options for this. I can use like this headshot right here and keep it as a little circle. I think what I want to do instead, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to take one of these like transparent background headshots, and I'm going to use that instead. There we go. That looks pretty good, but I think it's a little too far to the left. So fun trick you can do. If I click my mouse over here out off of the page, and then I highlight like this, see how all of those things got highlighted all at once? And now I can actually scooch that over, and I kind of want to line it up with this corner of this picture. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And so here, again, we need to remember that we're removing these little logos. And we need to make sure that our office logo has been replaced. Please do not leave it so it says KW DBA name. It's not a real place. All right, that looks great. And now I can update my information here. So my website is karakrogh.kw.com. My email address is karakrogh@kw.com. I'm going to leave where it says just this kw.com up here, but this could also be a great place to put like the link to your app, for example. And then for phone number, I will put my phone number. All right. That looks great. And this page is done. So then our next page is going to be our table of contents. Oh, or not. Let's go to templates. And then we're going to switch that out for our table of contents. Now, probably what I would do if I were you guys is don't touch the table of contents page. Once you've gotten the rest, I mean, you want to have it here as kind of a placeholder, but once you've gotten the rest of your buyer guide put together, then you can go back and actually change that table of contents to better reflect the order. And if you add anything or take anything out, you can update the table of contents then. So next we're going to add this sound decision page. So again, I clicked this plus sign up here. Otherwise it would have replaced my table of contents page. So I clicked the plus sign. And this is one of those pages that really doesn't need any editing. If you want to edit these pictures, for example, this one right here, I can go to Workspace. And Keller Williams is so kind in giving us all of these great images that we can pull from and use for free. So investing in a home is one of the most important decisions you can make. I don't really know what we'd want to put here. Maybe like a lifestyle picture. So we're going to go to lifestyle. And then look at all these pictures. Look at this person with a plant. That looks pretty fun. Yeah, all these great pictures to choose from. We're going to leave this person with a plant. This looks pretty great. So then I'm going to go back to templates. And then I'm going to add this next page, your needs come first. And again, we're going to go through these pretty quickly, but I definitely recommend checking all of these paragraphs, all of these words that are pretty much already ready for you to go, but just double check them, read them again, and make sure that everything, that you don't need to make any changes. I'm not responsible if you don't read through it. All right, your needs come first. And then again, we can update this picture if we want. And then, so this one is actually a rectangle picture in this circle. So what I'm going to do to kind of make this a little bit more centered is I just clicked it. And now I can scooch it over. Look how adorable this little family is. And we'll just center it right there. And then I'm going to click done. All right, and then the next page, we're going to go back to templates and build your home preference profile. This one looks great. Not going to make any changes. Next is your home wish list. I'm going to add that one. And I might want to update this picture too. Although actually, now that I'm looking at this a little closer, it does say exterior right here. So it's looking at exterior. And if I go back to Workspace, we're back. And then I go, there's house interiors. And then there's actually house exteriors as well. So maybe it would be a good idea to add a house exterior. And I actually love this image. I don't know how it's going to look here, but I feel like this looks like a very Seattle, Northwest modern kind of house. So we can add that there. And then back to templates. And as you guys can see, we're up to 7 pages now. So this thing is coming together pretty fast. So then we've got our exterior picture right here. It's this one. So then the next one, we'll click plus sign right here. And this one's talking about interior. So maybe on this picture, we'll go back and then we'll go to house interiors. And let's see here. Ooh, so many good options. What about this one? That one's cute. All right, I like that one. Kind of goes with the coloring too. And not really anything I'm seeing that's jumping out at me that I need to change from these words. Templates. Now it's getting to that part where it's like, it's hard to read because it's so small. Make sure I have all my pages here. Exterior, interior, more interior stuff. All right, and now let's go into getting to know your neighborhood and your neighborhood preference. All right, so let's click your neighborhood preference. And now this one is, we are going to add a few things to this page. So right here, it asks for your website URL. So I'm gonna click this plus sign so I can zoom in a bit. Double click in here, and then I'm gonna type kara.krog.kw.com. And this is definitely gonna look better if it's centered. As you guys can see, this is not really centered to the rest of the stuff in here. So how do I do that again? Aha. Okay, so I guess don't double click it, just click it once, and then this will pop up, and then text alignment, and then we'll change that to centered. And now that looks better. Might need to be a little moved over a bit. It's all about the little tweaking. All right, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Make my website your home base. Doesn't look like there's anything else in there I need to change. So now that we've talked about our neighborhood preference, let's get to know the neighborhood. And we'll add this page. And again, just a friendly reminder of what our website is. We're going to add it to this box, this little bubble as well. And then now I'm going to click it and make it centered. And again, make sure that's like all lined up. Perfect. So I actually kind of feel like it needs to be lowered a little bit. Maybe that was too much. Perfect. All right, your neighborhood is an extension of your home. That sounds good. Anyway, always remember that you can search, save, and organize your favorites on my site. And then we'll put it here yet again, kara.krog.kw.com. Perfect. That looks great. All right, and then moving on to the next page, neighborhood insights. Well, actually, do we want to do map your move? I don't remember what's on that page, so I'm going to create a new blank page, and then I'm going to click map your move. We could add that, or we can skip it. Maybe we'll skip it. Neighborhood insights, but totally up to you if you guys want to add that one or not. So this one would be more specific if you were actually targeting this to a certain person. You could actually put some neighborhood insights in here. So the way you would do that, let's see here. If you go to KWLS and then snapshots, let's say I'm going to do Green Lake. Is that going to work? Green Lake. Oh gosh, there's a lot of Green Lakes. Let's try zip code instead, 98115. No result. Oh, by postal code, 98115. It's thinking. This is taking a bit. Maybe I'll go back to searching the old-fashioned way. And to be fair, I'm on my laptop, which is not a new computer. So some of these slow issues are more my computer related than anything else. All right, let's search for neighborhood name and we'll type try Ravenna. There we go. It's thinking, it's thinking. And we wait. Don't know why that isn't seeming like it wants to work for me today. All right, well, I think we should move on. Anyway, I wasn't going to use this for our booklet anyway, but try on another day whenever maybe you're having more luck than me. You can try adding some neighborhood snapshots. If you know that you're working with a client that is looking in a specific area, you can add some insight about those neighborhoods right here. But actually what I'm going to do for this page, I'm going to delete these snapshots. And then I am going to take this little notes area right here. I'm going to highlight where it says notes and I'm going to highlight the outline of it. And I'm going to move it up here. Because maybe they're still trying to figure out what they want to put in here. I'm going to highlight all of this text right here. I'm just going to hold down my down key and move it down the page. Make some more room for notes. So this would basically be something that I could maybe write notes about their neighborhood, or I could communicate with them, tell them some insights about what neighborhoods they tell me that they're looking for. And then we could kind of work together that way. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Perfect. All right, that looks great. Now this next template is one I really enjoy. We're going to put in the how home buying works. So I'm going to add that as the next page. Again, not really anything in here that I want to update or change. And then I'm going to add the next page. So we've got steps 1 through 4, and then steps 4 through 8. Now, if you're a new agent and you're not really that familiar with the home buying process and all the little steps and all of that, hopefully you're working on that and you're learning that, and that's great. Definitely utilize this checklist. It's pretty great. You know, I think it doesn't really need to be changed. However, if you've been in the business a while and there's some special things that you do that you want to add to or alter this, all of these things are editable as well. So just keep that in mind. You can move these dots along these lines. You can add the dots, delete the dots, make the lines longer, things like that. Just remove steps completely all of this is completely editable. So just because we're not editing it, because I think it does a great job as it stands, you can certainly edit it. Maybe for down here where it says stay in touch with your agent for current or future recommendations in regards to your new home. Maybe I'll just put Kara. All right, so we've got that. And now let's add this financing your future home. So we're gonna add that page. You guys are up to 14, 16? Wait, 15? We're up to 15 pages now. This is turning into a legitimate book. Don't really see anything on here that I want to change, so we're just going to leave that as it is. Home loans made simple. Let's see what that has to say. Okay, this looks like it's about Keller Mortgage. Real value, real experience. Maybe I'll do that one instead. Now that I actually already have this page right here, I can kind of just click through. So sometimes I can add a new blank page and then kind of click through the templates that way. But if I've already added a template and I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to use that, I can always click through and look at the other ones and it'll just automatically replace that one. As you can see, we're still at page 16. Okay, so this would be one where if you've been in the business a while, this would be a really great page to tweak. So for me, I've only been in the business like 3.5. January will be 4 years for me. If you've been in, I don't know. If you've only been in it for a year, maybe don't put 1 year here. You could also talk about your brokerage though, too. So just make sure that's really clear what you're putting on here. For example, my brokerage has been open for about 4 years. And then, you can get that number from your MCA with the total number of clients served, repeat clients, things like that. They may or may not have this. You may have to tweak some of these in regards to the information that they do have. This is our value proposition, which is great to have on here. And then you can add your information here as well. I'm going to skip this page though. And I think I'm going to skip this competitive advantage page too. So like I said, definitely leverage these numbers if you have them. You can always, if you're working with a team, your team should definitely have this information and then use your team's information. I would just change little words here like our competitive advantage and just make sure that it's clear that you're referring to your office or your team. And then you've got your trusted partner. So I like this one, especially if you're new, because it's not super data driven. Now, this is something that you might want to change depending on the client that you're working with. You may find that some people, especially those like Amazon, Microsoft buyer folks might be super data driven and really want to see those numbers, in which case it might be a good idea to make them a special book with that information. But otherwise, people make a lot of emotional decisions when they're purchasing a house, and this would be a great way for you to include that information here. And this looks like it's good to go as is. I would say if you're a man, maybe you don't have this lady right here. You could even put a picture of yourself, I suppose. Ta-da. Or let's see here. I go back to maybe I just want to keep it the way it was. So I'm actually going to utilize something we haven't used yet. Surprisingly, we're 16 pages in. I'm going to use the undo button. And I'm just going to go back to that lady with her working on her computer. All right, back to templates. And we can add a promise to you. Actually, let's see what this one is. Oh, we've got some reviews here. If you don't have reviews yet, one great thing you could do if you don't have reviews yet is talk to people that you have worked with in the past, maybe not even in real estate related stuff, but people you've worked with through other jobs, and have them give you like a character review. I think that's a very honest way to get reviews from people as a new agent. All right, and I'm actually realizing this is taking up quite a bit of time. So let's go ahead and just add a few more things. I would want this searching safely option on here, especially. I think you could update this to more meet whatever COVID standards are in place at the time that you're putting this together. But I think it's a good idea to remark on that. You know, maybe take away the socially distant tours, but you can add some things, and you can always connect with their designated broker or look at, I think every Monday, the MLS sends out an email to all their subscribers talking about the most recent MLS updates for COVID policies and things like that. So I would make sure this is more up to date. The bottom line. That one's pretty great. And let's add some of these commonly used terms. This is actually super helpful that if you haven't already learned all these terms, now's a great time to read your own book and learn these things. So we're going to add all of those. And then last final page, this actually puts us at 20 pages, which is a great number for a book. Here's how you can get in touch with me. So I'm going to put my office address right here. Seattle, Washington, 98133. And then, oh, this is a lot of phone numbers. Maybe I'll just put one phone number here. And then my email address. My website. And then my app. So just real quick, if you guys don't know where your app code is, go back to agent.kw.com and then click consumer here at the bottom. And then go to site and app settings. And URLs. And then here's your app URL. So I'm going to copy that. Put that copy. And then we're going to go back to this right here. And I'm just going to highlight this whole thing and paste. You can take it out. I need to make this a little bit longer. Actually, that's fine. Cool. And then I think another great thing to add here would be maybe like your headshot. So I'm going to images and then my assets. And then, oh wait, actually. I was thinking I wanted like a circle version of this, and now I'm realizing I don't think I know how to do that, which is fine. We'll just put this right here. Maybe make it a little smaller. That seems kind of huge. I would like that better as a circle, but another day. All right, that is, oh wait, I almost forgot. We're taking that out. We're switching our logo. And I think this looks pretty good, honestly. Like I would definitely want to have a separate set of eyes on this and make sure everything is really correct and I'm not missing any typos or any part where it says insert your name here or something like that. But I'm feeling pretty good with this so far. So I'm going to title this design Buyer Guide, and it's, what is it, 7/8/21. So that way I can make newer versions of this if I want, and I always know based on the date that's on here, which was the newest version. Now, if you want to print these, you can, when you click download, you can print this, do PDF for printing. If you've got an old computer like me, I've definitely had some problems doing the PDF to print. And then I actually find that if I do the standard PDF, that it comes through very clear. I don't really have any need for it. It's not like I'm putting it on a billboard. It seems like it works fine. So I'm going to do it that way. You could always try, especially if you know you're going to be printing it, especially if you're going to be printing it on some nice paper or having it professionally printed. You could certainly try printing it to PDF for print, so the higher quality images and stuff, and see if that works on your computer. If for some reason it doesn't work on your computer, if you print it that way or save it that way and then you're trying to email it and it's too large to email, then you probably should change it to the print for whatever it said. And then, whoops, what did I just do? Oh, I stopped sharing my screen. Sorry about that. Oh, Sarah, can you let me share my screen?
Yeah, sorry.
I was like trying to move something and I accidentally just clicked the stop share my screen.
Okay, you should be able to now.
Let's try. Oh, yep, perfect. All right. So we are kind of actually a little behind than I thought I was going to be. So now that I have this downloaded, that's great. We're going to go into Google Drive. So there's lots of ways that you can utilize this this template. You can print it on nice paper. You can give it to people when you go to meet with them for buyer consultations, etc. But you can also use it virtually. So I'm talking having it on your website, which I'm about to show you how to do that, but also emailing it out to new clients as well. It could be a good leverage piece if you are doing an open house and you meet someone that they're not already working with an agent, and you're like, hey, I actually have a fabulous step-by-step buyer guide that kind of walks you through all the most important parts about the buying process. And I'd love to email that over to you if you give me your email address. So it's that good way to kind of offer something in exchange for receiving something from them. So if I go to Google Drive, and everyone should have Google Drive, by the way. All you need is a Gmail account, and your Keller Williams email is a Gmail. So if you're like, I don't have Gmail, yes, you do. Just use your Keller Williams Gmail. I'm going to click New and then File, Upload. And then I'm going to click that buyer guide that we just made. And now it's uploading. So now if I go to Recents, there it is right here at the top. I'm going to click that. And sometimes it takes a minute to load because it's still kind of uploading, but that worked out well. Oh, and it's just the last page. Awesome. Let's try that again. All right, so we're going to go to download, and then it looks like I just downloaded page 20. We're going to click all pages and then download. That's going to be a lot better than just the one page. I also noticed, and I'm just going to delete this. I also noticed that the name kind of comes through weird sometimes when you save it, even though I gave it a certain name. Let's click remove, move to trash. Looks like that's still downloading. There we go. So now I'm just going to change that name real quick. Buyer guide. And my name maybe. All right, right, so now I could certainly just email that to someone the way that it is. It's a PDF. I could attach it to an email and send it over to someone. But I want to show you guys how to add it to your website. So we're going to go back to Google Drive. We're going to click New, File, Upload, Buyer Guide with my name on it. We're going to upload that. That's going to take just a minute. And then here it is. We're going to open that. Now, you do have more options when you actually open this in a new window. So I'm going to do that. It's going to be in a new window now. And then there's two things we need to do while it's in Google Drive. The first, most important thing is you need to click Share. And then right down here where it says Get Link, the default is probably to share with just Keller Williams people. So we're going to change that by clicking it. We are going to make it so it's anyone with the link can view this. So now I can copy this link right here. And instead of attaching a PDF to an email, I could link this into an email. If I could say, find my buyer guide here, for example. So you don't have to attach it as a PDF. You can also go to embed item, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to copy this right here. And now let's go quickly to command again. And actually, we're already in consumer, which is where we want to be for this. We're going to go to agent site pages and then create a new page. Yeah, I'm having trouble with this. There we go. Create a new page. And we're going to do a page on my agent site, create page. So now that we're here, we're going to title this page Buyer Guide. And this one isn't going to be a public title. This is just for my reference. So I'm going to put today's date. And then I'm going to use, you do have to always use a widget whenever you're making a website, just so you know, you can't use only content blocks. So I am going to use the company profile widget, and I'm just going to click and drag that over. And we talk a lot more about widgets and creating websites and creating pages on your websites in our agent sites classes. But I do think for this particular class, it'll be really fun to show you guys how you can add this book that we just made to your website. So now that we're here, we're going to configure widgets. We just have the one widget, company profile. For our headline, I'm going to call this Buyer Guide. Or, I mean, I'm sure you could be more creative than that. Everything you need to know about buying a home, whatever, home buying 101, whatever the case may be. And then I'm just going to go through and I'm actually going to delete all of these things here. As you can see for section 1 text, it does have a little red asterisk. So instead of just deleting it, I'm going to add one singular space there. I'm going to delete these placeholder images, delete all of this stuff because I don't need it. And it's just going to make those elements disappear from this page. All right, that looks great. So now we have that, again, I went to embed item and we have this copied on my computer. And then we're going to go right here to that intro text and we're going to paste it. So you can save and apply from here and kind of see what that looks like. And also just wanted to add too, you can update this image as well. So if you don't love this picture, you can always change it. Keep in mind, this will not work if you skipped the step where you had to make this public. So make sure if you haven't done that yet, if you just skipped straight ahead to embed, I know we were moving kind of fast, make sure you have made it public. And again, I'll just tell you guys, you go to share and then change this right here so that anyone with the link can view. All right, now the one thing I would want to change about this, I think it's a little small. So if you look at our coding. This is like very light coding, but coding nonetheless, where it says width 640. Whoa. I am going to change that to 700. I would actually like it to be bigger, but I've noticed that if I change it to bigger than 700, it goes a little lopsided on the page, and I'm not a super great coder, so I don't really know how to overcome that. This is very light coding stuff, so I just work with what I got. And I'm going to change the height to 1,000, and we're going to save and apply. And as you can see, that makes it a little bit bigger. And now, in the last few minutes we have remaining in class, I'm going to save these changes. And then we're going to make it actually live on our site. So right here, we've got all of my drop-down menu site pages. I actually do already have a buyer guide currently. We could actually remove that. Delete, delete. And then we're going to add a new page. And then look at this, buyer guide 7821. We're going to add that. Now for this page title, before, unlike buyer guide 7821, that was just for me to see. This will actually be the page title that people will see when they come to my site. So I'm going to put buyer guide. Again, you might have something more creative you could put here. For the slug, I'm just going to put, again, buyer guide. Slug is basically if you want to send someone directly to your buyer guide on your website. So instead of sending them just the link to this page, you could also send them this link right here, which is karakrogh.kw.com/buyer-guide. And then you do need some sort of SEO description. So I like to always include my name, maybe my phone number. And then buyer guide, or maybe even like home buyer guide, and then save. All right, so that should be good to go. I'm going to go back to agent site pages, and then my URL will show up here at the top. I'm going to click that, and it will take me to my site. So if you remember from the very beginning of the class, we were talking about in our marketing profile, our team name. So I have mine as Kara Krogh because that's what I want to pop up when someone comes to my site. I want them to know that it's my site. I want my name to be there, especially since I don't have like my own logo with my name on it or something. If you leave that blank, because for example, maybe you're not on a team, then what it's going to say is, I believe it just says your agent, so kind of generic. So we're going to click that and then go to buyer guide and check it out. Here's our fancy buyer guide, everything we just put together. All of that stuff. And I know we didn't really talk much about seller guides. It is the same concept though. Does anyone have any questions? I guess it did take a full hour to cover all of that material. No questions. I guess everyone here is a pro at making buyer and seller guides, which is great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for this class today. I had a really fun time teaching it. I do love to play around in designs. You will get better at it, and it will become more intuitive the more time you spend in it. If you ever mess up, you can always start over. It's not the end of the world. Everything is pretty easy to update. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.